After ruling out more than 1,900 tips, investigators are asking residents to think back to a week ago Monday when the 7-year-old disappeared. No clue, they say, is too small. One day after funeral services for 7-year-old Summer Thompson, and police are now releasing a behavioral profile of the girl's killer.
We have reason to believe that there are individuals who have information pertinent to this investigation who have yet to come forward because they did not feel that their information was important or relevant to this investigation.
They're asking residents to be on the lookout for someone with unexplained injuries, and in particular cuts and bruises on the head, hands, and arms. Another red flag is someone who has suddenly stopped using a personal or work vehicle, or parked it, or sold it, or gave it away. Another clue might be someone who missed work or some other routine engagement last week Monday when the girl disappeared.
Often, someone in the community will unknowingly be associated with that offender and may be in a position to observe those behavioral changes of that person.
Summer Thompson was walking home from school when she was last seen. Police found her body in a landfill some 50 miles away. There's no word yet on possible DNA evidence collected at the scene and whether it provided a clue. In an open letter to investigators and supporters across town, the girl's mother asked everyone to accept her thanks for helping her family through that very difficult time where we had to say our final goodbye to Summer. She also thanked residents for the fundraisers that helped pay for the funeral and will now give her the time away from work, quote, to heal and help my children heal from this traumatic life event. Another thing police say to look for is someone who recently left the area on an unexpected trip or someone who has grown or recently shaven a beard. And Diane, they say it's a combination of these behaviors that residents should look for.
Yes, trying to hide, trying to escape detection. Okay, thanks, Steve. And here with us now is forensic psychiatrist Dr. Michael Wellner, who has consulted on hundreds of criminal cases. Always great to have you with us.
Good morning.
I was surprised to learn that among those of you who are experts in the field, you know there are two kinds of pedophiles, and one tends to kill and the other one does not?
Well, I'm speaking more from my own experience. I don't know how other forensic psychiatrists would conceptualize this, but clearly there is a distinction between the pedophiles you see versus the pedophiles you don't. There are pedophiles who are part of the community who attach themselves to institutions like schools and coaching teams and that sort of thing where they have access to children.
Right.
And then there are pedophiles who keep their preferences secret. And they may wander from community to community because they've been involved in major crimes and because they want to evade local law enforcement. And they may be very private and carry on a normal sexual life and no evidence for violence, but they're opportunistic, and when they have an urge and see a child alone and walking and vulnerable, may seize the child. So there are the pedophiles that you see and the pedophiles that you don't. The pedophiles you see may violate children again and again and again, and the pedophiles that you don't see violate and destroy.
It's an interesting and terrifying distinction, of course, both counts. I was listening to Steve talk about the things that the public should look for, and we think, well, that's everybody, when, you know, growing beards and watching for people who enter. But you have said, and this is my question, how much do we know that we don't know we know? If we go back to, say, our apartment complexes and think about who comes in and out, do we solve crimes that way? Can random people solve crimes?
I'm a strong believer that the community is an incredibly underrated and important resource for solving crimes, especially when the crime is fresh, where people are in a position to remember, where was I yesterday? Where was I the day before? Was I close to this area? Did I see anything around the school? Did I see anything around this that resembled this person or this person?
Specific cases you know that have been solved by random people.
Well, this is part of the foundation of the Amber Alerts and really getting a community mobilized and vigilant. Samantha Runyon disappeared. Alejandro Avila was identified after a dragnet in the middle of July of 2002 generated about 4,000 tips. One of those tips from somebody who just randomly remembered a visit that the later convicted murderer had to the same apartment building, happened to see his girlfriend who was at that apartment building. Now, who would remember a thing like that? But you get the public mobilized to say, What do you remember? Think carefully. And if everyone feels responsible for protecting a community, the community is more protected.
And quickly, they're not releasing the autopsy results in Summers' case. Why?
Investigations of sensitive crimes may yield a lot of tips and people coming forward and people accused. And under interrogation, someone may be pushed into a confession. And if the suspect isn't aware of the facts of the case, that if there's a peculiar quality, it helps police have more confidence that they have the right person if there's some element of a crime that comes up in an interrogation that the public doesn't already know about.
Doesn't know. All right, Dr. Wellner, always great to have you. Thank you.